Hello everyone.
A group of politicians who recruited former Chief Justice Mogoeng to be their party's presidential candidate in 2024 are reeling from shock after learning that the man of the cloth will no longer be running. The All Africa Alliance Movement (AAM) declared in August last year that their newly formed party under their presidential candidate Mkhwebane will usher South Africa into Canaan. However, Mogoeng made headlines recently after announcing in an ENCA interview that he will one day become South Africa's president without going through a general election. The interview stemmed from his speech at a gathering in Bloemfontein over the weekend. The former Chief Justice said there was a possibility that there could be a stalemate to elect the next president in the National Assembly, where parties, each seeking their own leader to take over the reins, would opt for someone neutral. He said, "Who said God can't touch them and say, there's a man who is not in any political structure, go to that man and approach him. Let him take a seat, somebody vacate the seat. Let him come in and vote him into the position of president. Who said it can't happen? I'm not saying might, it's unstoppable, but I don't know when." It sounds crazy, it sounds nonsensical, but I have seen how unlimited the power of God is. I'm going to be the president of this country at the appointed time. I don't know when. It may even be next month. The AAM Secretary Bishop Meshach Teffo said the organization was still recovering from the recent developments. He said, "We are hurt." He told Sunday World publication that "we are hurt and disappointed. We truly thought we were on the same page, but the Chief Justice has now abandoned us, and we have yet to establish the reasons behind this." They were accused unnamed cabinet ministers of surrounding Mkhwebane like sharks after AAM announced his candidacy for president. He went on to say, "After we announced him as our presidential candidate, there were cabinet ministers who immediately visited him, with the assistance of some pastors who have greater political aspirations. From there, the Chief Justice was no longer accessible. We were under the impression that he was only praying to seek answers on what direction the party should take to fulfill its mandate of changing the lives of South Africans. However, our members who attended the Bloemfontein gathering sent us messages informing us that things have changed. We are in shock." Teffo said they would move on with or without the Chief Justice. He said, "We are speaking to our constituents. We know we have lost KwaZulu-Natal because of what is going on with the key figures there right now. But we still have many Christians across the country who believe in our party. It was never about Mkhwebane, but about South Africans. I must add that before taking any drastic actions, we will send a delegation to the Chief Justice House to humbly get an understanding of what he is saying. We are hurt, but we remain loyal to taking South Africa to the promised land." Teffo added that Mkhwebane might be relying on the outcomes of ongoing litigation between the independent candidates who wish to run for national office in the general elections of 2024 and the government. He said, "From where we are right now, we believe he might come out as an independent candidate who does not belong to any political formation but stands because the people will have asked him." 2 years after the Constitutional Court ruled that preventing independent candidates from contesting positions in provincial legislatures and the National Assembly was unconstitutional, Ramaphosa, current president, eventually signed the Electoral Amendment Bill into law this year. In order to be eligible for election since 1994, individuals who wished to participate in provincial and national legislative bodies were required to belong to a political party. In local government elections, independent candidates have effectively challenged the political leadership of their wards based on the support they receive from their communities. The bill underwent extensive public consultations, prompting the National Assembly to ask the Constitutional Court for 2 deadline extensions. The last day for Parliament to enact the bill was February 28, 2023. However, civil society organizations are challenging the new bill in the Constitutional Court over the requirements for any independent candidate to stand for national or provincial office. We are now moving on to the former public protector, Advocate Mkhwebane. The former public protector, Mkhwebane, is expected to be announced on Monday as member of the EFF and a member of parliament. Mkhwebane posted on social media that she will be making a big announcement of her political home. The media briefing is scheduled for 4 p.m. in Kwaggasfontein in Mpumalanga. For its part, the EFF was expected to break the news in the next episode of its newly formed party podcast, which was launched last Friday. The national spokesperson of the EFF, Sinao Tambo, said, "Let's watch the space." In July, during the EFF's 10th anniversary gala dinner at Emperor's Palace in Ekurhuleni Party, the EFF leader Julius Malema assured Mkhwebane of the EFF's support. Mkhwebane's term as public protector officially ended this past week. In September, the ANC-dominated National Assembly voted in support of the DA-sponsored motion to remove her from the office on the grounds of misconduct and incompetence. In her defense, she alleged that her removal from office was political because her office dared to investigate powerful political players, including President Cyril Ramaphosa, Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan, and Absa's 1.2 billion debts to Reserve Bank that the ANC government seeks to write off. Mkhwebane's anticipated move to Parliament means that she will sit on the benches with the same people who booted her out of the office. In her farewell message to former colleagues, Mkhwebane thanked them for working hard to ensure that the most vulnerable received help. She said, "Let us pat ourselves in the shoulder that only less than 5% of those reports were reviewed and set aside. I'm aware how the unprecedented, unfair attacks the office received affected many of you, but you kept going because the priority was serving the people on the ground." We are now moving on to Advocate Teffo Malisela. Pretoria High Court found former Advocate Malisela Teffo in contempt of a strike-off order, sentencing him to 12 months suspended imprisonment. In a judgment handed down electronically on Friday, the High Court declared Teffo to be in contempt of court for disobeying several aspects of the September 16 strike-off order. This after the South African Legal Practice Council launched a contempt of court application against Teffo earlier this year. Teffo had interpreted proceedings when he attempted to address the court in the first Central trial in the Pretoria High Court despite being struck off the roll of legal practitioners. He appeared on May 17, clothed in the council's robes, before Judge Chifiwa Maumela and demanded to address the court. He purported to represent Mayor's brother and stated he had given instructions. He also told the court he had a watching brief. The appearance took place a week after the contempt application had been served on him. Teffo was struck off the roll in September 2022. On Friday, the court sentenced Teffo to imprisonment for 12 months. The order was suspended on condition he immediately comply in full with the strike-off order. The applicant, LPC, shall be entitled to bring an application, whether urgent or otherwise, for an order that the suspended sentence be given effect to immediately should the respondent continue to breach the strike-off order. Judgment stated that the High Court dismissed Teffo's counter application and rescission or variation application. It said, the respondent Teffo is directed to pay the cost of the contempt application as well as the applications mentioned in paragraph 6 supra on the attorney's and client scale, which cost shall include the cost consequent upon the employment of two counsel and all reserved costs. What's your take on this one, people? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more news.